No matter how closely you look, you see nothing at all in the suit of armor. The carvings on the chest depict gnomes leaping through shrubbery. A painting of The Black Prince as a Fierce Baby by Ed Botticelli circa 1560. The cheap wood frame is by the Leyendecker Museum circa 1925. An empty chest from the 15th century. Although the carvings on the exterior are crude, cut into the wood by someone with little talent or ability for wood carving, the chest now resides in a museum, simply because it's old. Kind of makes you stop and think, doesn't it? The chest feels like wood, and you get a small splinter in your finger when you rub your hand over the carvings. Looks aren't everything. This is the Life Mask exhibit. You haven't seen this many dead-looking, expressionless faces since your accounting class at the university. It's the head of a Cro-Magnon man. My, how people have changed. It's the head of an Australopithecus man. Poor little fellow. This is the head of a Smeltdown man. You've heard rumors that Smeltdown man just may be a hoax. It's the head of a Neanderthal man. He looks so brutish. The head is from Mongolia. You've heard that the Mongols would have taken over the world if their ponies' legs hadn't been so short. It's the head of a Ramapithecus man. What fine craftsmanship. Seems to be covered with a paint-like substance. Probably paint. Appears to have been applied quite some time ago. The plaque says that this is the missing link. Well, he's hardly missing if he's right here on the wall. It's the head of an Australian Aborigine. He looks elemental and wise. This head is from India. You close your eyes, smelling the incense, hearing the temple bells. This head is from Arabia. Your thoughts are suddenly filled with tales of the Arabian Nights. This head is from the Mozambique area of Africa. How exotic! A head from Algeria. Imagine! This head is from England. You ponder whether or not he always looked so grim. This person lived off the Ivory Coast. How exciting! This head is from the Cape region of Africa. The head is a life cast of a denizen of Central Africa. You suddenly remember that the Africans developed bronze casting techniques hundreds of years before the Europeans. The head is from Brazil. It reminds you of your great-aunt Marjorie, who went to Brazil to treat her brain fever and never came back. The South American head has strong, regular features. The head looks like that of a North American Plains Indian. You've read many exciting stories about the American Indian. This head is French-Canadian. You wonder if French Canadians are anything like Creoles and Cajuns. This appears to be the head of an Eskimo. You wonder if they really do use every part of a seal. This head from Greenland somewhat resembles the head from Alaska. You gently palpate the room, and the diagnosis is normal. Looking at the pterodactyl from here through the magnifying glass is pointless. It's a very big painting of a Spinosaur. Looking carefully, you determine that the models in the diorama are very well made. Up close, this is an impressively realistic model. The animal's hide appears to be either very real or a spectacular fake, and the stitch marks are beautifully hidden. you find nothing that arouses your suspicions. Even up close, the museum room exudes an atmosphere of quiet studiousness, with a slightly sinister undertone. This room contains a marvelous dinosaur exhibit. A fine painting of a mighty brontosaurus, the thunder lizard. This huge creature with its tiny brain is currently the subject of a controversy. Dr. Earl Douglas from the Carnegie Museum of Natural History believes that current brontosaurus displays have the wrong heads mounted on their skeletons. However, Dr. Othniel Marsh, who originally discovered the brontosaurus, believes that the heads on current displays are correct. Only time and more fossil evidence will conclusively prove which of these esteemed gentlemen is correct. A small sign identifies this dinosaur as an iguanodon, which means iguana tooth. However, from the Tyrannosaurus rex's point of view, this dinosaur could be identified as dinner. It's a Tyrannosaurus rex. His name is Rex. Isn't that clever? A sign on this dinosaur bone display says, "Please touch." Either these bones feel lonely, or the museum wants you to learn more about the bones by coming into close personal contact with them. The thigh bone from a young Tyrannosaurus rex who no longer has any need for it. The bone is fossilized and dusty. You pick it up and place it in your purse. It's an oil painting. An iguanodon, up close and personal. It looks like an admirable reconstruction of fake, leathery reptile skin. It feels like fake, leathery reptile skin. Now keep your hands off the displays. The sign says, "Push button to hear Rex speak." A metal button embedded in a wood sign on a pedestal.
Welcome to the Leyendecker Museum Dinosaur Display. My name is Rex, and I'd like to tell you about myself. I'm a type of dinosaur known as Tyrannosaurus rex, which means king of the tyrant lizards. Although I was not the largest type of dinosaur, I was the largest predator ever to walk the earth. Some of my friends were 40 feet long and weighed 8 tons, with teeth that were 6 inches long. Your modern elephants don't weigh more than 6 tons. I lived between 250 and 65 million years ago, during a period known as the Age of Dinosaurs, also called the Mesozoic era. The first complete skeleton of a Tyrannosaurus rex was found just 24 years ago in Montana in 1902. Although there were many meat-eating dinosaurs, I was considered the best killing machine who ever lived. Speaking of which, I'm feeling a bit hungry. Would you like to volunteer to be my next meal?
The remaining bones are too small to hold your interest. Don't be greedy. You can't fit more than one of these huge bones into your little purse. The dinosaur bone is fossilized, but you can still make out the porous structure of the calcium. Ooh! Maximilian armor from Germany, circa 1514. Very impressive. The armor of Anne de Montmorency, Constable of France, worn at the Battle of San Quentin in 1577. At 50 pounds it was comparatively light. This was necessary since its occupant was 64 years old.